Welcome to the deep dive. We're looking today at what feels like a really pivotal moment for Canada. Our source material calls it a once-in-a-generation crossroads.
Hmm.
You've got new leadership, Mark Carney as prime minister, and this strong signal that, well, it's not business as usual.
Definitely seems that way. A real sense of change in the air.
Right, and a kind of renewed national spirit, maybe. It feels like there's this urgency, this window of opportunity for some pretty big shifts in how government works.
Window that might not stay open forever.
Exactly. So our mission here is to dive into a really thought-provoking paper. It's called The Case for Real Change, Reimagining Digital Government in a Canada Strong Era.
Written by Julie Lease, who has firsthand experience, former Chief Digital Officer at Transport Canada.
Right, and this deep dive, it's really about exploring how Canada could, fundamentally transform government, make it faster, smarter.
More agile, more human-centered.
Yes, both in how it serves you, the citizen, and also how it works on the inside. Behind the curtain, so to speak. So think of this as your shortcut to understanding the key ideas, the maybe surprising bits, and this, well, pretty ambitious vision for Canadian public services. We want to help you get informed quickly and thoroughly.
Let's dig in.
Okay, let's start by setting the scene. This crossroads idea and the dual challenge Canada faces.
The paper really frames it well. Prime Minister Carney's early moves, new ministers for transformation and AI, pushing on those interprovincial trade barriers.
It sends a message.
A very clear one. And then there's the announcement of significant spending reductions. It basically says the old way of operating isn't, well, sustainable.
And importantly, it's framed not just as cuts. The clerk of the Privy Council is quoted emphasizing transformation as necessary evolution, not a threat.
Right, which is key for buy-in. But the message is still urgent. The window to act is open, and the need is immediate.
So what's fascinating here is how this climate, this pressure, actually creates maybe the perfect conditions for real change in governance.
Yeah. Exactly. The paper argues Canada's facing this dual challenge. Two critical things that have to happen together.
Okay.
First, completely reimagine how we deliver services to Canadians, make them seamless, proactive, fair, really built around the citizen.
And second?
Second, modernizing how government works on the inside. That's the back office, internal operations, the digital plumbing.
And the author, Lise, she saw this firsthand at Transport Canada, right? The desire for change, but also the roadblocks.
Yeah, she speaks from experience, seeing both the appetite and the barriers. It grounds the whole argument.
And the vision here, it's not small potatoes. It's not just like putting forms online.
Not at all. It calls for a bold, clear, and future-facing vision. Something ambitious, but also practical.
Aiming for a leaner, more agile, and more human-centered government. Better services for you, smarter operations inside.
That's the goal.
Okay, so a key part of making this happen, and this is where it gets really interesting structurally, is creating a new kind of central engine for digital transformation.
Right. The paper argues the current setup, the Treasury Board Secretariat's office, the Chief Information Officer, the OCIO.
They have expertise, obviously.
Deep expertise, yes. But the argument is they lack the mandate, funding, and operational muscle for this scale of change. A policy shop, on its own, just can't drive delivery across all departments.
It can't cut through the inertia.
Precisely. So connecting this to the bigger picture, it's about more than just moving boxes on an org chart. It's empowering a new kind of leadership.
So what's the proposal?
A digital government executive office. Think of it as a central executive function with real teeth.
Real authority, delivery power.
Exactly. Power to direct resources, set standards, actually make things happen across government, not just suggest them. And high visibility, with an explicit mandate for whole-of-government transformation.
Okay, but where would you actually put this powerhouse?
Good question. The paper flowed with two main options. One is within Public Services and Procurement Canada, PSPC.
Leveraging their operational side. Procurement clout.
Yeah, and it aligns with Minister Sudd's portfolio. The other option, maybe more powerful symbolically, is putting it right inside the Privy Council office, the PCO.
The center of government power.
Right. That would instantly signal that digital transformation is a top whole-of-government priority, anchored right where cabinet decisions are made.
But wherever it lands, the core idea is.
It has to be delivery-focused, empowered to act, and accountable for progress. It needs to bridge those gaps between departments, connect policy to reality. A catalyst, really.
Makes sense. But are there risks? You concentrate that much power, could it become its own bottleneck?
That's definitely a valid concern. The paper doesn't dwell on downsides, but yeah, you could see potential for rigidity or departments feeling disempowered. The key, I think, would be how it operates. Is it about enabling and shared services or top-down command? It needs to be collaborative, not just dictatorial.
A tricky balance.
Yeah, a very delicate balance.
Yeah.
So, okay, you have this structure, potentially, but how do you get the leaders, the top brass, to really own this? The leadership question. Crucial.
The paper's pretty blunt. This cannot be delegated to the middle.
Absolutely not. It must be owned and driven by the most senior levels. Real accountability, real engagement. Digital can't be a side desk issue.
It has to be a core leadership priority.
And this raises that important point about leadership signals, what behaviors show what really matters.
Right.
The paper talks about needing a digitally fluent executive cadre and a chief digital officer with a government-wide mandate sitting right in that proposed executive office at the top table.
And the deputy ministers, the DMs, they're key.
Absolutely critical. They control budgets, set priorities, set the tone for innovation or lack thereof. The paper says their engagement is the difference between real progress and surface-level compliance.
Just ticking a box.
Exactly. The author's transport candidate example comes up again. Progress happened when senior leaders actively pushed for alignment between policy, delivery, digital, driven by structure, sponsorship, and trust.
So it needs to be part of their job description, essentially.
Pretty much. Not an optional extra.
So how do you make that stick? How do you institutionalize it? The paper suggests the new executive office working with PCO, with the Canada School of Public Service.
Yeah, to embed digital skills into executive performance reviews, put transformation principles into DM onboarding.
Build a pipeline of future leaders who get it.
Right. Succession planning. The core message is clear. Transformation starts at the top. It rises or falls on leadership.
But changing those deep habits, DMs are incredibly busy people. How do you make sure this isn't just, another initiative of the month?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? I think it comes back to making the why crystal clear. Connecting digital maturity directly to their departmental results.
Show them the value.
Show them the value, give them the tools, the support, share the success stories, and, as the paper hints with performance agreements, make it part of how they're measured. It's not a one-off training course. It's continuous learning, maybe peer networks, creating space to try things, maybe even fail sometime.
A cultural shift, not just a process change.
Exactly. It's a long game.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the outside-in transformation. The stuff that directly affects you, the citizen.
Reimagining services, starting with the people you serve.
Right. The paper acknowledges Progress CDS, IRCC, Service Canada, CRA. They've done good work.
Definitely pockets of excellence. Energy and experimentation are there.
But the scale and consistency are not. That's the key phrase. A lot of it is still siloed or experimental. Why haven't these good ideas spread?
Well, it often comes down to those foundational pieces being missing or fragmented. And the paper argues there's no single mandate, accountability mechanism, or sustained leadership model to drive it across the whole system.
Okay, so what are those foundational pieces?
First and foremost, digital identity. The paper calls it the single most powerful enabler, the keystone.
Like a universal key for government services.
Sort of. A secure way for you to prove who you are online once, instead of juggling different proofs for different departments. Imagine that.
That would be amazing, but it's been stalled for decades.
Yeah, largely due to jurisdictional fragmentation, provinces doing their own thing, and a lack of legislative will federally. BC, Alberta, Ontario, Quebec, Newfoundland. They're moving ahead provincially.
But we need a national approach for it to really work seamlessly.
Absolutely. For services to be truly faster, more personalized, and less frustrating. Think Estonia, Singapore. They built their amazing digital services on strong national digital ID.
Okay, digital ID is huge. What else?
Then there's this concept of the digital pantry.
A pantry? Like for snacks?
No, more like a central library of shared digital tools. Think scheduling systems, notification tools, payment components.
Stuff everyone needs.
Right, instead of each department building their own from scratch, which is incredibly wasteful.
They grab it from the pantry. Build once, use often.
Exactly. Faster, more consistent, better user experience for you.
Makes total sense. What's next?
Equity by design. This is critical. Making sure no one is left behind. Rural communities, low-income folks, people with disabilities, indigenous populations.
How do you ensure that?
Inclusive design from the start, affordable access, co-designing with communities. The paper points to New Zealand's digital inclusion blueprint, Finland guaranteeing broadband access legally. Good models out there.
Important. And then there's the really futuristic stuff.
Yeah, the next frontier. Anticipatory and proactive services, powered by AI.
Like government predicting what you need.
Kind of. Imagine applying for parental leave, and the system automatically checks if you qualify for other child-related benefits. No extra forms.
Wow.
Or you update your address once, and it propagates across all relevant government programs.
That requires serious integration, though. Identity, data, consent.
Deep integration. Services designed around the user, not the org chart. Government anticipating needs, not just reacting to applications.
And the last piece here isn't technical at all, is it?
No, it's removing the policy handcuffs. A lot of laws were written for paper. They literally block digital approaches.
So you need to update the rules themselves.
Yes. Modernize policy frameworks. Make them more adaptive, outcome-focused. The paper suggests things like digital sandboxes to test new approaches safely.
Like a safe space to experiment with policy.
Exactly. And anticipatory policy models that can evolve. Ultimately, all this service reimagining, it's about changing the government's stance from process-driven to people-driven.
And building trust. The paper says every interaction shapes your confidence.
Absolutely. A good experience builds trust. A bad one erodes it. It's that fundamental.
Okay, so that's the outside view. Now let's dive into the internal workings, the nitty-gritty of making government itself run better.
Getting out of its own way, basically.
Right, because improving the behind-the-scenes stuff is what actually enables those better services.
Can't have one without the other.
And the paper points out the problems. Legacy systems, endless approvals, clunky workflows in HR, finance, procurement. They just drain resources and delay outcomes.
Even the clerk, Michael Sabia, admitted, our internal processes have become quite complicated.
Which feels like a massive understatement sometimes.
Haha, probably. And this brings up that point about automation and AI really changing the nature of public service work.
Starting with unlocking efficiency through automation.
Yeah, targeting that repetitive transactional work. Data entry, forms processing, verification. The stuff that's tedious and, frankly, leads to high turnover.
Prime candidates are HR, finance, procurement, grants, things with clear rules.
Exactly. Rule-based processes, often involving disconnected systems. Automation can slash processing times, cut errors, and free up potentially tens of thousands of person hours.
Freeing people up for
More complex work, judgment calls. Dealing with unique citizen cases, human interaction. It's framed as workforce evolution, not just cutting heads. It means reskilling, making jobs more meaningful.
That's a really important framing, and it goes beyond basic automation to AI-enabled government operations.
Right. The challenge to leaders. Is this work something only a human can do? If not, AI and automation should be the default starting point.
And there are real Canadian examples already.
Definitely. IRCC using AI to help triage millions of applications.
Yeah.
StatsCan automating questionnaire processing using chatbots. The Pay Center using virtual agents. This is real delivery, not just theory.
So the push is to move from pilot to platform. Embed an AI-first mindset.
Yeah. The paper even mentions the Shopify CEO telling staff to justify new hires by proving AI couldn't do the job first. A provocative idea for government.
Wow. That's a bold challenge. We have frameworks like the Directive on Automated Decision-Making.
We do. Good principles. But the need is to move from responsible principles to scalable practice. Get it working reliably at scale.
But how do you get a big, risk-averse place like government to go AI first without, mass panic about robots taking jobs?
That's the change management piece again, isn't it? It's about communication, reassurance, investment in people. Showing how AI augments human work makes jobs better. Let public servants focus on the stuff humans do best.
Solving complex problems, showing empathy.
Exactly. It's not human replacement, it's human enablement. But, crucially, none of this works inside or out without fixing the data situation.
Data as infrastructure. Still siloed, inconsistent.
Often, yeah. It needs to be treated like critical infrastructure. That means platforms, standards, chief data officers who can enforce things, and a culture shift from hoarding data to sharing it securely and ethically.
Which ties into the last internal piece. Shared platforms and the end of DIY government.
Stop the endless duplication. Departments building the same things over and over.
Back to the digital pantry idea.
Yeah, provide those pre-approved building blocks. Foster a platform mindset. Build it once, share it widely. Saves money, speeds things up.
We hear about all these great plans, new tech, but sometimes they just stall. The paper really hammers home one reason why.
Change management.
Exactly. It says, none of this transformation will stick without one crucial investment: change management. It's not just comms or training after the fact.
No, it's fundamental. Transformation is about people, how they think, how they work, how they adapt. Change management is the bridge.
So what's the cost when it's not done well? When it's an afterthought?
Oh, the human cost is huge. Resistance, confusion, frustration, people just digging in their heels or checking out.
Burnout, disengagement.
Right. And the irony is, the transformation itself slows down or fails completely. You end up back where you started, maybe with fancier tech nobody uses properly.
The author's Transport Canada example again. They treated change management as a deliberate, well-resourced pillar.
Because the deputy there understood change doesn't happen by accident. You have to actively manage the human side, invest in helping people navigate the uncertainty, build trust, move from resistance to readiness.
It's about embedding the new ways of working, fostering that culture of improvement.
Building psychological safety, listening to feedback, making people partners in the change, not just recipients.
It really does tie everything together. Without that human focus, the best tech or policy is just theoretical.
Absolutely.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, listening to this, trying to understand where Canada might be headed?
Well, the paper ends on a pretty optimistic note. It suggests the stars are aligning.
New leadership, fiscal pressure, creating urgency, public demand, that renewed national spirit.
It feels like a genuine moment of opportunity.
And this raises that question. What does a truly Canada-strong digital government actually look like day to day for you?
Yeah. The paper acknowledges Canada has strong foundations. Good work has happened in departments.
But they've done it alone. That seems to be the core problem identified.
And the call to action is to move from experimentation to execution and from execution to scale. Get everyone pulling in the same direction with a whole-of-government approach.
This isn't just presented as a nice-to-have tech upgrade. It's framed as a leadership responsibility and a national imperative.
Right. The choice isn't cuts versus status quo. It's strategic reinvestment in modernization versus, well, continued erosion of public trust and institutional capacity. Pretty stark terms.
It really is. So the final thought the paper leaves us with, and maybe leaves you with,
Given this chance to unlock potentially billions in efficiencies, free up talent for better work, deliver faster, simpler, more human services, what's our role?
as citizens, as public servants, as leaders, what's your role in demanding or contributing to this? And how can Canada not just catch up, but actually lead globally?
Not just on tech, but on weaving that trust and equity right into the government's digital fabric. A vision for a stronger Canada, definitely, built on a smarter government.